Certainly this week is really an opportunity for us to continue to stay sharp, but at the same time an opportunity to recover. This will be a little bit quicker of a turnaround relative to what most bowl games are. So 2-week window. This week we're going to obviously lift and run our players a couple of times. We are going to have some summer type formatted OTAs. Did one yesterday, going to do one tomorrow. Really a little bit of a crunch here relative to what we have to accomplish from a recruiting standpoint. We've got official visitors coming in this weekend, and we'll turn the page officially on Sunday to Tulane and start implementing the plan. But today was just a spring practice type practice for our team, and certainly good to get back on the grass there and kind of knock the rust off a little bit. But we're excited about the challenge, certainly excited about playing in Orlando and being associated with the calls relative to AutoNation Cure Bowl. And I think our players look forward to this matchup. And Tulane certainly is a formidable opponent from a good league and will be a challenge for our football team. What do we got here question-wise?
You talk about recruiting. You basically only have 1 weekend to try to fit in everything you'd want to do in the fall. I mean, how much of a crunch does that do, and what kind of issues does that cause for you?
Well, yeah, it's a double whammy. I mean, you play in the championship game, so preparation for that game takes away. We did get out a couple of the evenings last week. Obviously, this week we're on the road quite a bit. We did come back into practice once, but we'll host the majority of our targets this weekend in one event. It'll just be crowded, more crowded than normal. But I do think it's a little bit of a crunch. I think one of the advantages that we do have is we have a huge group of commitments, so a lot of our work has already been done. But we do have a couple critical targets that we're trying to finish with here. And December 19th is right around the corner. So, but it'll be a great weekend. We've got a good plan. We've got a really good group of players coming in here, and we look forward to that.
Sticking with that, how many, I know you can count forward, count back and all that, but how many do you have available on this year's class? How many of those do you plan to use as opposed to holding on to a couple, and how many of those do you hope will be December ones?
Yeah, that number is going to fluctuate relative to, what type of timeline each guy is on, but we're going to sign every player that's passed our evaluation that we feel like is a winnable player for us on the 19th. I think it's an advantage for a group of 5 teams. You get a chance to basically lock in your guys, and you don't have to sit around for 6 weeks worried about somebody cherry picking your guy. So, I think it's an advantage that we'll be signing our guys on the 19th. I feel good about our committed guys and really excited about some of the guys that we can finish with. So I think that number, it's just all got to do. Each individual guy maybe is on a little bit different track, but we used 5 of ours, so you would know that we have 20 left.
Okay, that's what I was wondering.
But that number, you may see more than that reported, and that's because some of those situations are a little bit different.
It's an interesting kind of catch-22. You play the bowl championship, you lose a week of recruiting. You play in the bowl game, lose a week of recruiting. Do you think the bowl and the success, is it better to have the bowl and the success, or better to have the 2 weeks of recruiting in your eyes? Oh,
I'll take the success anytime. I think, momentum is critical, and certainly positive coverage, positive energy in the building, reward for your players. I think recruiting for us, most years is going to be about like we're in the situation we're in right now. We're going to have a huge group of commits. We're going to have a very select group of targets that we're trying to finish with. And I think we started this process a long time ago. We've evaluated 1 million players, I feel like, and we've made some good decisions, and I'm excited about the group we put together here. So we'll take the championship game and the early bowl game. That means we won the league, or we're runner-up and played in the championship game if we're playing on the 15th. So we'll take that.
Do you think this whole December thing is something that might get revisited?
No, I think it's going to end up being a positive. I think I think it's going to improve the quality of life of the assistant coaches and head coaches. I mean, all support staff. changes strategy, obviously. You know, you've seen a little bit more early decisions. You see more official visits in the spring and summer. But I think it's a positive, in my opinion. I mean, most of the time, a lot of the decisions are already made at this point anyway. Why not go ahead and get it out of the way? I think it basically positions everybody to have a better holiday, I guess I would say. But
does the meaning of National Signing Day lose some of its punch?
Just less time for people that make money off of it to cover it, you know, basically. But I think you're seeing the same type of coverage here in this month, you know, leading up to signing day. It's not nearly what it used to be. But, you know, I think that it's a product of more information earlier. You know, used to be, you know, you were making decisions later because you had less information. Now you have so much information available. Everybody's able to make decisions quicker, not only in the evaluation process, but the student athlete's able to make a quicker decision. So it's just a product of the world we live in.
But you probably have some guys that just absolutely can't come this weekend that you'd like to have in for official visits.
Yeah,
how do you work around that? Just in this year's
right.
situation.
We're battling it a little bit, but I think for the most part, you know, we've done a good job, you know, combating that, anticipating that, in particular the second half of the season, you know. And we made this our big weekend, you know, with a positive outlook, I guess you would say, relative to, you know, playing in the championship game and being involved in one of these bowl games on the 15th. So we were prepared for it, and I think you know, there's going to be a handful of guys that don't get. We may have a couple of visitors on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, you know, but for the most part, most of the guys will be here this weekend.
One thing I didn't get to ask you about just from Saturday. I know Collie was in for at least one series. I think he had one carry that got negated by a penalty. I think another one was a read option and Nunez kept it or whatever. But had you hoped to get him more involved going into that one, or was the plan all along to pound it more? And what might Collie's presence be in the bowl game, considering what kind of defense you're facing?
I think we had the same rotation within the game. We just maybe didn't quite have as much production when it was his possession. Does that make sense? Sometimes your possession maybe is depending on how well we're moving the ball. But he did impact the game as a returner. So he had tremendous impact on the game. And, you know, Trey and Eli obviously did a great job in the game and rushed the ball very effectively. So I think it was just a product of the game, no different to some of the other games where maybe he had more production, the other guys didn't. You know, we basically executed the same plan every week outside of some of those weeks where maybe a guy was banged up. You know, he was a little under the weather against ULM. You know, I think Trey was a little banged up against Georgia State maybe. So I think it just all depends on who's healthy. But when they're all healthy, we execute the same rotation we have the entire season. They're a great team and really good, selfless group. You know, not only rushes the ball well, play without the ball, do a good job on special teams. So I think it's just a product of the game.
Now, I'm going to ask you this, Nolan. We were just talking about Collie. Is Chris Smith the fastest guy on your team? Because he was flying, chasing down Evans.
Well, he broke 2 in there today for touchdowns. That's what I would tell you. I think Chris is a good young player, you know, that has a bright future. Certainly he's had a good attitude. He continues to work hard. And I think if he continues to invest in himself and be a great teammate and work really hard, he's got a bright future. And we've got a very talented running back group. We're able to redshirt him this year. But you got a chance to see how fast he was when he ran down their kickoff returner, you know, in that opening kickoff. So Chris he's got a bright future, you know, and I hope he continues to work the way he's working now.
Do you fear having to juggle a 4-man rotation next year?
It's a good problem to have. You know, may need to study a little 20 personnel package in the offseason, you know. But and we got some other guys that play for good football too, you know. Ashton Johnson and Jordan Wright are certainly talented running backs as well. So, you know, it's a good problem to have. And the good thing is we've been able to balance the workload of those guys. They've stayed healthy. And sometimes if you have just one or just two, you know, that guy could take a beating throughout the year. We're fortunate to keep those guys healthy and fresh, not only in the game, but certainly in practice as well.
Two-part question. Tulane has a new offensive coordinator, Will Hall. His name is known in this building, obviously. One, how much do you think a new OC at this point in the game affects the bowl game? And two, have you started, scouting him a little bit just by talking to players about what he likes and since they know him?
Well, I mean, I think certainly excited for Will. You know, Will's a friend of mine. I've known him for a long time. One of the harder things he had to do was not retain him here, and I was happy that he landed on his feet with Coach Norvell at Memphis, which I think would be, he would tell you that was a beneficial year. Mike's one of the better offensive minds in the country, and excited for Will to get a chance to call plays again. And I would think that he would have some input going into the game, but maybe you should call down there and ask Coach Fritz. I'd love to hear his answer. But no, our players, the players that I have spoken with about Coach Hall had respect for him, certainly liked him, and he did a good job here and was here for one season. So, but I'm excited for Will, and he's a good friend of mine. So we look forward to competing against him.
What gave you the conviction to not just decide to go with, but to stick with regimentally the quarterback rotation that you have and not, and I'm going to make this question a lot longer because I got to put my passcode in.
You're all right.
Your answer.
I'll wait on your answer here.
To not waver from it all.
Yeah, I think just a belief in Levi, and I think his ability relative to the intangibles that he has, his ability to affect the team. We watch him a lot more than you do. You guys just see him every 4 series throughout the game. We watch him every day. We see him work. I'm in a position meeting with him every day. I know how he prepares. And I think it's something looking back at it, I think it was a huge positive for our team. Our backup's engaged. He's forced to prepare, knowing he's going to go on the field and play each week. So we're a little more prepared if Andre were to get hurt. And then he's banking reps for his future, and I think gives us an opportunity to have a little bit of a change-up, a guy that can move around a little bit. Certainly he sparked our team and made some plays at some critical times and was very productive. He did have a little slump there, early third of the season, but, that's probably where, I think he responded the right way and made some critical plays at Texas State at some times in that game where maybe we needed a spark. So Levi's he's a great teammate, a good leader on our team, and certainly proved to be an effective quarterback.
Were you ever tempted to waver from it or no?
Maybe other people were, but I know Levi Lewis. I'm with him every day and watch him prepare. He knows why he made a mistake, and I think that's half the battle. So he's a quarterback, and he's exactly what we want out of our football players here in terms of how he goes about his business.
The hypothetical that you haven't had to face, 2-minute drive, got to have a touchdown to win it, you're sticking with it?
Yeah. I mean, that's how I feel about it. No different than, every third series a different running back runs out there. We got conviction and belief in all those guys. And I think when you have players that are equally capable, at least equally, it's a good thing. More players you can play, the more depth you have, the more better morale. I think there'll be a day around here where we play lots of players. We don't have as deep of a team maybe as we'll have in the future, but hopefully we can get to the point where at every position we've got lots of very capable players and keep those guys where they can play to a standard in terms of their effort, and certainly reward what we observe in practice each week and make it very competitive.
Couple more for Coach, please.
What did Middleton do to seem like you put it into a different gear and just kind of emerge as a main guy as compared to earlier in the season?
Yeah, I mean, I think Justin's been, when we got here, many people had told us, hey, look, this is the best linebacker you have. You know, Justin was a guy who had shoulder surgery in the offseason, a little bit late. He was a little bit in and out of the practice lineup and spring ball. He was non-contact, so a little bit of a slow start. So I think eventually he just, you know, the reps added up. He became more familiar with the scheme. He was more confident. He prepared better. He played faster. And certainly is a very capable player and has had really good days for us. So, you know, and hopefully he'll finish his career the right way with a strong performance in Orlando on the 15th.
Just my last two things. It seemed like Jalen Johnson played a lot the other day. Was that just kind of addressing the depth thing and I don't know, maybe related, but, you know, Miller's status? And I think you said the other day that you might get a bunch of guys back from injuries. So you're talking about Miller, Hill, who else? And what's the
Well, Saturday we got back Eric, we got back Farad, we got back Percy. You know, we got a handful of guys back. You know, Appalachian State plays with 12 personnel, which is 2 tight ends and 2 receivers in the back. And we match personnel. So the grouping, you know, we were in our base grouping. So, you know, Jalen plays F in that grouping, and he was obviously playing more because they're more of a 12 personnel team. So that was the case. You know, they bring in another 3rd receiver. We played nickel, played Eric at star. So we were just matching the groupings that they had out there, and they played a lot of the game in 12, so Jalen played quite a bit. So, and Tariq, you know, the last time we played Appalachian State, Tariq had a good day and played quite a bit. When he was healthy, he started at that position. So we've done that throughout the season. It just happened to be Tariq was banged up and Jalen was the starter at that spot.
So who else might you get back? Or
Tariq practiced today. You know, he's been really the one guy who has been out. You know, outside of we're still kind of in concussion protocol with Whitted, Callaway, and Washington. Those guys are still in the bubble. So those are the 3 guys that would be questionable for the game. I do anticipate Tariq being ready to go, though. I think it'll be, you know, this week, obviously, it will be a chance for him to recover. We're only practicing once in pads. I'll know a little bit more as we get into Sunday, Monday, Tuesday of next week. But we're making an effort to, and he wants to play in the game. So, but we are going to have to fix his shoulder, you know, and we'll do that Sunday after the bowl game.